Max, I'll start with you here. So you just heard Cam saying that Cap is a legend. What's your reaction to him saying this about Colin Kaepernick?
You're asking me my reaction. So I'm not going to give you, this is, not something that I think is fair or unfair to Cam. This is just the way I feel about it. Having watched it, I feel uncomfortable watching Cam talk sometimes. I never know if he's really giving us the authentic him. I don't know. I remember when Kaepernick first started all this, Cam was wasn't going to take a side one way or another. And he gives me the feeling when he talks that A-Rod used to give me, the great baseball player and an MVP, and Cam has been an MVP. He gives me the same sort of feeling, like, I don't know if it's that he's not comfortable in his own skin, but that he is somehow not going to give you his authentic self until he knows which way the wind is blowing. And so that's, whether or not that's fair to Cam, because I'd like to see him regain form and have great success in his career. I thought, the year before last, he was about to become the Mickey Mantle of football. He was so awesome and so much better than everyone else, it seemed. And it hasn't worked out that way for him, and I wish him luck along those lines. But that's my reaction to this. He didn't say something like this until literally the whole league was locking arms.
Well, my issue is that I think that we're all guilty of this from time to time, where we're so focused on the messenger and we're not nearly as focused on the message. In the case of Cam Newton, there's certainly been pressure upon him to live up to what a quarterback is supposed to be, how one is supposed to conduct themselves. And he certainly had some issues in terms of a checkered past, and there's no denying that. But I'm very fond of Cam. I like him. I like how he's grown. And I'm going to take him at his word. And the bottom line is he's not lying. Colin Kaepernick is somewhat of a legend right now because he's put his money on the line. He's put his career on the line. The stance wasn't popular, and it was clearly because he was thinking about somebody other than himself. And so when you're that kind of individual that's willing to make that kind of sacrifice, although I'm on the record emphatically disagreeing with his position about voting, and I will never relent from that position, it doesn't take away from what he did, how courageous he is, and how the courage that he displayed, while incredibly admirable, is also an aberration because we don't see that enough from the modern-day athlete. The modern-day athlete appears to be incredibly calculating, and on far more occasions than not, even when they do take positions, is after they see which direction the wind blows in, after they take into consideration the damage it will do to their brand, et cetera, which strips them of the authentic feeling that you were just alluding to, Max, that we all would like to have when it comes to listening to the words elocuted out of their mouths or what they put on Twitter or beyond. But we don't have that concern with Colin Kaepernick. So since we know we don't have that concern with Colin Kaepernick because he's put his money where his mouth is, he's made sacrifice because nothing worth accomplishing comes without sacrifice. Let's just call it what it is. To know that he has done all of that is incredibly admirable. He deserves our respect and admiration for it. And Cam Newton speaking to that reality, there's nothing wrong with taking Cam Newton
Guys, we gotta wrap
at his word and face value rather than wondering what the motivation was.
All right, we will. Go ahead, Max.
Go ahead, Molly, sorry. No, that's why I didn't single Cam out. I singled out Brady and Rodgers the other day because they're at the top of their profession. Cam is not at the moment, but since he commented, we're giving reaction to it, and that's how I feel.